Hey guys, I asked my Tumblr followers if I should do this or not, and the response was unanimous. I should definitely do it. So this is a video on the Hymen myth, and the general consensus for a long time has been that the Hymen is a saran wrap type of skin that goes over the vaginal opening and does not break until you have intercourse for the first time. And this is incredibly problematic and incredibly untrue, because if that were the case, then menstruation wouldn't happen until after you had sex, and I know a lot of women that menstruated way before they lost their virginity. So, I just want to talk about what my research has found and what the hymen really is. Now, when you're born, every woman does, in fact, have a hymen. However, it's not quite what everyone has made it out to be. Hymen is, it's a piece of flesh, it is, and it's like this, around the vaginal opening, but there's a hole in the middle. When you're a baby and when you're young, it's kind of thick, and it's definitely there, but by the time you reach your adolescence and your teenage years, it thins out, especially when you start getting the hormones to be a teenager and an adult and stuff. When you start, hitting puberty, it thins out a lot and it becomes very elastic. So the first time you have sex, instead of, pop, it's supposed to stretch and go back down. And in studies, they've seen that, out of 36 women that they observed that, it was 36 women, I believe, and they observed that out of the 36, only 2 had changes to their hymen. And so, as you get older, the hymen, it goes away and it deteriorates, but it's still there, basically. And even in young teenage girls, there was literally the smallest change that you could not see without a magnifying glass or a microscope. It's definitely, it's kind of silly, but, it's to the point where some physicians couldn't even tell you what a hymen is or what to look for in a hymen. And so basically, from what I've gathered from people and from my research is the only reason, there are very few reasons that the hymen would tear, and it's not a pop or a break, it's a tear. And one of the main reasons that the hymen would break is it's a disorder in the fleshy area, and it's basically that, and it's a very rare disorder, by the way. It's I don't know, the hymen lacks elasticity. So, and the vaginal walls lack the elasticity around the opening. And so it does kind of tear, and it does kind of, break a little bit. And that's something that is usually corrected after the tear, or has to be surgically corrected, and it is very rare. And the other reason that something like this would happen is if someone was very, very rough with you, and there was not enough arousal. So basically, it's a big excuse, in my opinion. It's a big excuse for guys to, one, believe that their dick is so awesome that it changes the way you are, that it changes you for the rest of your life, and no one else can take that away from them. It's crap. It's totally a social construct. It's men making women feel like they are less than they are once they've had their weird, nasty, crusty pork sword inside of them. And it's so silly. And it's also an excuse for men to not care about the comfort of their partner. It's a huge excuse for them to, basically hurt their partner just to get it in and get off and whatever. And it's crap. It's total crap. And now I know some of you are out there okay, Ryden, but why is this important? And I'll tell you why it's important with a little story. There was a girl I went to high school with, and her name was Mindy, and she was in a lot of my classes, and she was a pretty good friend of mine. And she lost her virginity to another one of our guy friends, and he happened to be a very popular person or whatever. And, basically, her hymen didn't tear, it just stretched like it's supposed to. And, since he was not properly educated, he believed that she lied to him about being a virgin. So he went around the school and told everyone that she was a slut and, not a virgin, and she was a liar. And she got bullied so bad that, people were literally ganged up on her and beat her up. And she had to, be homeschooled for the rest of her high school career, and it really messed her up. And people made her feel like less of a person because of their miseducation. When I was in high school and I was in health class, they taught us everything you needed to know about male ejaculation, the testicles, the shaft, and very little about the female vagina. The most they taught us about was, the STDs you could get and how they'll affect your vagina or penis. And that's not okay. Women should be just as much educated about their anatomy as males. I didn't know about the clitoris. I didn't know about the truth about the hymen until the past, 2 years. And that's not okay because I took health class when I was 15. This is something that I learned almost 6 years ago. And I'm just now learning about the hymen and the clitoris and all of that. And that's problematic. But the point I'm trying to get across is losing your virginity is a total social construct. It just means that you've had sex for the first time. It's something that people made up to make women feel bad. It's to keep women up with the status quo of waiting until you get married to have sex. And at the end of the day, your worth doesn't change depending on how much or how little sex you've had, or if you've had sex at all. Virginity is silly, sex is sex. It can mean a multitude of things to you, but you don't lose your worth because some guy's magical dick took it away from you. Your dick's not magical, pal. I'm sorry. You don't get to take something away from a woman just because you slid your weird, nasty rod inside of her and, thrust it a couple times, came and turned over and went to sleep. You're not that special. I'm sorry. And so, what I'm saying is, the hymen is just, it's basically not what everyone's made it out to be. It's just, a part of your vagina that's not supposed to change all that much once you have sex. It's not a piece of fucking saran wrap over some leftovers. It's just a little donut of skin that the dick can still go through if it stretches right. That's it. That's all. And that's all I've got to say here.